Hi everyone, Eric here with Proud Counseling. I'm here to talk today about challenging avoidance, meaning pushing through and doing the thing that's hard for us to do. So this is a continuation of the example I talked about in the emotional awareness video, but basically just a few different kind of therapeutic strategies that you can do to help ensure that you get that thing done that you're wanting to get done. So I'm going to continue on with my example of wanting to go to the beach, and it was just a struggle to get out there. Sometimes it can feel like a big deal. It's like it's going to be this all-day affair, and what all do I need to bring, and what's the day going to be like? And sometimes it can just get in the way of actually getting out the door and getting there. So I noticed this was happening for me. I noticed the weeks were continuing on, the weekends were happening, and I wasn't making it out there. So a couple things that I did, and they helped, and they got me out to the beach. One is a social psychology theory called posting. Posting is where if we tell people that we're going to do it, we're more likely to do it. There's more accountability to it. So that was one thing I started doing. My friends would be like, what are you going to do this weekend? And I started just saying, I'm going to the beach on Saturday. Friday night rolled around. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to the beach tomorrow. Like, I'm going to do it. What can I do to help make sure I do? One, I scheduled it out. I decided, I already knew where I was going to go. I decided what time I wanted to leave the house and what time I needed to get up in the morning in order to meet that deadline. I set an alarm corresponding to that, and I set a reminder in my phone that I would see when my alarm went off that said beach with the little emoji of the beach umbrella and the emoji that said 100, just kind of as a reminder of myself, like, you want to do this, do it. And then finally I was like, okay, one of the barriers sometimes for me in wanting to go to the beach is like getting everything together. So, hey, here's something I can do to help with that. I'm going to pack my bag in advance, have my beach bag all packed up, ready to go on my table. All I need to do is kind of wake up, do some minimal things to get ready and get out the door. So these are all some strategies that can help with kind of like meeting a goal that you've been wanting to do, and that's been a struggle just to do naturally on your own. The other thing that was coming up for me, which I covered in the emotional awareness video, was I didn't quite realize it, but just brief recap. I realized that I was actually really anxious about this beach trip, and that was getting in the way of me actually doing it. And when I leaned into it and thought about what was making me anxious, it was because I wasn't sure how the parking was going to work. The city had changed the parking restrictions to try to reduce the amount of people going to the beach. It worked. Case in point, I wasn't going. So sure enough, that Saturday morning, my alarm went off. I looked at my phone. I saw the reminder, beach 100, and I immediately was like, no, I don't want to go. But rather than just, roll over and go back to bed, I was like, hang on, why don't I want to go? And I realized I was nervous. I didn't know what the parking situation would be. What would it be like? The uncertainty of it. And that was making me anxious. Once I realized that, first of all, I wasn't hard on myself. I wasn't like, come on, Eric, you're being ridiculous. It's just driving to the beach. It's not a big deal. You're an adult. I didn't do any of that. I kind of practiced some self-compassion in that moment, and I normalized it. It's like, oh, okay. You don't know what the parking's going to be like, and you're anxious about that. That's understandable, but does it have to rule out the day? Maybe not. So then I started kind of looking at some alternatives to that, because the fear thoughts were like, I don't know what the parking's going to be like. Okay, reframe to that. I'm going to look up the parking ordinances again before I go. What if I can't find a spot once I get there? Reframe. I might totally be able to find a spot, and it might not be that big of a deal. I don't know yet because I haven't tried it. So let me just kind of try it and see how it goes. it was enough. It was enough for me to kind of recognize that and reframe that. I had already done all of those things in place anyway, so that certainly helped too. Probably had I not told people I was going to go, had I not packed my bag, had I not set my alarm, I probably wouldn't have made it out there. I had already done all of those things, and then once I kind of reframed some of my worry thoughts, I was able to push through it. Sure enough, first of all, there was no traffic. That was another worry of mine. Traffic might be really bad. There was no traffic. I made it out there. The parking was a breeze. I found someone who was regulating it, masked, rolled down the window. Hey, what's the deal with parking? He was like, you can park on this street. I can see spots down the road. Just keep driving and you'll see one. I did. Open spot, zipped on into it. It was no problem. And I had a wonderful beach day. So these are all some strategies for challenging avoidance. And basically, nutshell, when things aren't just naturally getting done that you need to get done, it can be really tempting to be like, oh yeah, I just didn't feel like it. Do a little bit more than that. Dive a little deeper into it. Try to figure out what's holding you back. Usually it's fear. So kind of lean into that. What am I nervous about? What's the fear with this situation? Do some stuff to work through it, put some other things in place that are going to amp up the likelihood of doing that thing, and then do it. You've got this. I totally believe in you. And most importantly, reflect afterwards and give yourself some credit. I totally did. I was like, yes, I made it to the beach. I am so amazing. And it felt really good. And then from there, I started going regularly, pretty much every weekend again. And that just kicked up my mood and had me feeling great and de-stressed. So try this out, challenging avoidance, lean into it and ask yourself, why am I avoiding this? And if there's any fear, what am I afraid of? All right, you got this. Go for it.